Hey everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Inka. In today's class, we're going to be making this gorgeous and beautiful bubu dress. For this dress today, I'm using 3 yards of Mikado silk. This fabric is by 65 length. This fabric is 65, so I'm using 3 yards. But then if you are using fabric that is not as long as this in length, you need twice your gown length measurement with your seam allowance, of course. Okay, but I'm using 3 yards because I'm going to be using it this way because it's by 65, which is long enough for my gown length. Okay, but if you're using fabric that is not as long as this, you will need twice your gown length measurement with your seam allowance. Then of course I'm going to be using half yard of this sequin fabric to decorate the neckline. So let's get started. This tutorial today, you're going to be needing your full gown length measurement and then your center back to your desired sleeve length for the sleeve and your hip circumference measurements, and basically that's all that you need for this tutorial today. So let's get started. First you're going to be folding your fabric into 2, and after that you're going to rule your guideline. That is the first step. For you to determine the amount of the fold over, you need your center back measurement to your desired sleeve length. In my own case, I'm going to be making use of 20 inches, and because it's going to be having elastic the hemline, I'm going to be adding extra 3 inches to that 20 inches, making it to be 23 inches. So on this my guideline, I'm going to measure 23 inches. So this is 23 inches. So from this point now, you're going to measure down your nipple point length and the length in which you want the cowl to start from. The cowl starts around the hip line, so I'm going to be using 28 inches for that point around the hip line, a little below the hip line. So I'm going to measure down my nipple point. My nipple point is 10.5, so I'll measure 10.5, and then the point where I want the cowl, the point in which I want the cowl to start from, which is going to be 28 inches, and then my gown length. My gown length is 60 inches with extra 2 inches for my seam allowance. Okay, then I'm going to extend the lines. From here I'm going to rule it straight to my nipple point line. That's going to be my sleeve opening. I'll just rule it straight. I'll rule a straight line this way. Then I'm going to come in by 2 inches. From this point now, I'll come in by 2 inches. I'll come in by 2 inches this way, and I'm going to connect it straight to where I want the cowl to start from. Okay, so I'll just rule it straight this way. Then I'm going to just blend it with a slight curve here, like this. Just create a slight curve like this to connect these 2 points together nicely. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do now is to come to the hemline of the dress, and then you're going to input your hip circumference measurements divided by 4 plus extra 3 inches. My hip circumference measurement is 42 divided by 4, that will be 10.5. Then I'm going to add extra 3 inches to that, so 10.5 plus 3 inches, that's going to be 13.5. so I'm going to put 13.5 at the hemline. 13.5. Then with my ruler again, I'm going to connect from this my measurement that I have at the hemline. I'm going to connect it to this point where I want the cowl to start from, this way with your ruler. So just connect it. It's just a slant line. Can you see? Next thing we're going to do now is to slant the shoulder. So I'll come to the guideline. From the folded edge here, I'm going to measure 3 inches inward this way. Then I'll come to the tip of the shoulder here. I'll measure 1 inch downward. Then I'm going to connect this point to this point so that you can slant the shoulder. And don't forget, you're going to be adding your ½ inch seam allowance back to this line this way. That's for joining the shoulders together. So the next thing you need to do now is to input your neckline. For the neck width, I'm going to be making it to be 3.5. 3.5. Then the back neck depth is going to be 2 inches. Then I'll connect the points together this way. And basically, that's all. So we are going to be cutting this out. And after cutting this out, we're going to be using this to cut out the front. So the back is ready, and I'm going to be using the back to cut out the front. So I'm going to keep this aside. Then I'm going to place my fabric into 2 folds again so that I can cut out the front. So my center front is on fold. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to measure 6 inches inward from the folded edge, and I'm going to roll it straight down to the hemline of the fabric. So the next thing I'm going to do now is for me to place the back on top of it, and I will align the center back with the line that I rolled this way. Can you see? Then after that, I'm going to be cutting out the shape of the back exactly the way it is at the back, okay? But then we need to input our neckline. So for the front neckline, I'm going to measure 4 inches for my neck depth. For the front neckline, I'm going to measure 4 inches for the neck depth. Don't forget the neck width remain the same. So what I'm going to do is just to lift the back up a little after marking the position of the neck width. Then I'm just going to connect the position this way. Can you see? So this is the front neck line. So we are done cutting it out. We have used the back to cut out the front. So you take out the back. So the next thing now is to cut out the front neckline. You can see the shape for the front neckline. So what you need to do is just to fold this inward this way. You fold it inward the way you see me do here. Then you cut this. Like this. Then you make sure you notch. And that's it. The front is ready as well. So the next thing you need to do now is for you to measure down from the shoulder. You measure down 18 inches or 19, depends on where you want the inverted pleat to start opening from. Okay, so just make a point at that point. Here I'm using 18 inches from the shoulder. Just measure 18 inches downward, and I note the point on this my line. So the next thing I will do now is for me to take this to the sewing machine now, and I'll run a stitch all the way to this point. Just sew on that line all the way to where you have your mark. Then when you get to where your point is, you back stitch. Then you turn your machine down to the longest stitch. Just turn your machine down to a gather stitch, you know, so that because we are still going to be ripping this part that we are going to sew now, you're going to rip it open later. So just turn your machine down to a gather stitch, and then you're going to make your stitch all the way down to the hemline of the dress. Just run a straight line all the way down to the hemline of the dress, like so. So you can see I've run my stitch from where the neckline stops to this 18 inches point. Now it's for you to just trim off this excess. Just trim off this excess like this. You stop like 1 inch before you get to where your stitch stops here, and then you're just gonna end it like this. Can you see? So you cut off that excess. You can see this is how it is. So the next thing now is for you to open it up. Open it up like this. You open it up like this, and then you're going to just open your seam, and then you're going to iron it flat. You iron it flat like this. Can you see? Iron it flat all the way down to the hemline, so that by the time you rip it open, you are going to have inverted pleats in front. Just open it like this, the way I'm doing it here. Just iron it. So after ironing it, this is how it's looking. So you take this part down to the weaving machine, and you are just going to weave the edges and also here. But if you don't have weaving machine, that's okay. Just fold 1/4 inch inward the way I'm showing you now, so that you can just top stitch the raw edges inside. So you can just sew in the raw edges. You do the same thing to the second side, and then here also you cut off the excess a little further, and you just top stitch like this. Okay, so you just top stitch on it so that you can keep the raw edges in, so that the design can be beautiful and neat. Okay, so I'll just do that, because instead of weaving it, you can weave it, but you can also do it this way, just tuck in the raw edges and top stitch. So let's do that on the machine. So when you're done with one side, you also do the second side. Just tuck in the raw edges and stitch on it. I'm done with this too. So the next thing now is just to fold the bottom part, fold it down, and then you top stitch again. That way everything will just be nice and neat. So you don't have to weave, but if you want to weave, it's still okay. Just weave it. Okay, so you can see how neat and beautiful this is now from the wrong side. Then from the good side, this is how it's looking. It is nice and neat. So the next thing we have to do now is to cut out facing for the neckline, both the front and the back. So I'm going to be using some of the pieces to cut out facing for the back. So you place the fabric on fold. You can see this part is on fold. Then you place the back on top of it like this. So you trace out the shape of the neckline. Then you take it out. The next thing now is for you to measure round from the neckline. You're going to measure 3.5 all around. 3.5. Then you connect it together this way, and then you cut it out. So this facing is just to finish off the neckline nicely. So this is the facing. You keep it aside. We'll work on it on the sewing machine. Then the facing for the front, I'm going to be using this sequence for the facing in front. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to fuse it with my interfacing. So I'm going to be placing this on fold also. You place it on fold. Bring back the front. Can you see this is the front? And I'm going to also fold it into two like this. You can see there's joining in front. So this is how it's going to look. So you align the center of the front neckline with the folded edge of the sequin. Make sure everything is properly aligned. This, then you are going to trace out and cut off the front neckline also. Like this. Can you see? Then you take it out. You take the front out. So the next thing now is for you can bring it back so that you can know where you want the facing to stop in front. I would like it to stop. You can see that we have, let me open the wrong side so that you can see it. From the wrong side, you can see we have joining here. We have this line here. So I would like the facing to stop ½ inch below this line so that you can cover up this line that I have here. Since I decided not to weave the raw edges inside, I just top stitch it down so that you can cover the line. So I'll stop ½ inch below that point. ½ inch. So I'll just note it on my facing. Okay, like this. At this point, I'm just going to measure 4 inches inward, 4 inches inward like this. You may not see it because this is just shining. So 4 inches inward. Then from the neckline here, you measure 3.5 inches from the neckline, which is exactly what I have here right now. Then from these 4 inches, I'll just connect them together because it's just like a slant line, not curved. This way. So this is going to be your facing for the front neckline, and it's going to also serve as the design that is right in front. Okay, so the next thing you have to do now is just to fold the raw edges in by ½ inch. Just fold the raw edges in by ½ inch and iron it both down and also the side. So the next thing you have to do now is for you to, the front part of your gown, turn it to the wrong side. The right side of the facing, the shine part of the facing, that is the right side of the facing, will be facing the wrong side of the front. Then you take to the sewing machine, make sure you align it properly. You stitch the neckline together, and then you notch, and then you turn it to the good side of the front. Okay, so this is the wrong side of my neckline. Then I will match my facing on top of it. The right side of the facing is going to be facing the wrong side of the dress. This way, make sure you align it properly. And then you stitch the neckline together. So I'm done stitching the facing to the neckline. Next is just to notch all around it. All around the neckline. Then you turn the facing to the right side of the dress. Turn the facing to the right side, and then you're going to iron it. I'm going to insert just a little hemming gum inside so that I'm in place. Then I'll take back to the sewing machine. I'm going to top stitch. This is optional. You can use your pin to just pin it down. I'm going to top stitch the edges all around. So this is it. We are done with the front neckline. So the next thing you have to do now is to rip the center front so that we can reveal our pleat. We use gather stitch to ensure that it can be easy for us to lose. So just rip it open. You can stop anywhere you wish to stop, but we have a place where we backstitch, and you cannot lose more than that position. I think it's somewhere around here. So that's it. The front is ready. So I'll be working on the back facing. Okay, so the first thing now is to fold 1/4 inch in like this. Can you see? Fold 1/4 inch in, and then you are going to 1/4 inch in and stitch all around just once. 1/4 inch. So this is the back of the dress. You're going to be placing the right side of the facing will be facing the right side of the back, and then you're going to stitch all around the neckline with 1/2 inch allowance, with 1/2 inch seam. So when you're done stitching the facing to the neckline, you are going to just notch all around the neckline like this. Then you turn the facing to the wrong side and press it. Then when you're done, just put hemming gum inside, and then you iron it down. Then from the right side, this is how the neckline is. So the next thing we are going to do now is to join the front and back together. Place the front and back together, right side facing each other. And then you're going to join the shoulders together with 1/2 inch allowance. So you join the shoulders together with 1/2 inch allowance. I'm done joining together at the shoulder. So the next thing for us now is to create the elastic channel at the sleeve area. So open up the dress. So from here to here is our sleeve opening. So what you need to do is just to fold 1/2 inch in, and then you fold 1/2 inch again, and then you're going to make your stitch all the way to the second side. You also repeat the same step to the other sleeve opening, so that way you'll be able to create elastic channel where you'll be able to insert your elastic. What I'm going to do now is to hem the bottom part of my dress. So just fold the down part according to the number of seam allowance you added. So I've hemmed the sleeve opening. So the next thing now is to insert my elastic. You cut out your elastic according to your arm circumference. You cut out 2, 1 for each of the sleeve. Then you insert your elastic inside the elastic channel that we created at the sleeve opening. So I'm done inserting the elastic to the sleeve opening. So the next thing now is to place the front and the back together like this, and then you're going to close the side with 1 inch seam allowance all the way down, starting from the sleeve opening here. You can see the way it is from here, close with 1 inch all the way down to the hemline.